So we definitely had three crisscrosses. I was off about this drop in the morning, which was really frustrating. These relativity cards are difficult because there's some funny business that goes on here after hours and pre market. It's almost like the behavior here is based entirely on what happens during the day. But we have three crisscrosses, right? One confirming a bullish trend. 1, 2, 3 through the same price level. Put it in orange because it's wands. It's roughly this price level right here. And so off of the low, we create support out of old resistance. We basically establish support at a higher price level. Around the high, there's the halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support, and that was key support right there. Right around there, 441.16-ish. You want to go down, buddy? What you want from me? Did you knock all my cards on the ground? What you doing? Sorry, guys. You want to come back? And you can see how there was a peak midday. We had a high correlator midday. Yeah, and so there was opportunity there, open a long position, close a long position here at the peak. So these were kind of combined, the trade correlator and the Knight of Cups, which is this fast sudden move higher, marking the end of a decline. I think that really took place off of the high, decline, fast sudden move higher, marking the end, bumping along resistance. Notable reversal, and now we're in the midst of the Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands opportunity to open up a short position or close a long position. It looks like there's a cash out opportunity in there, so we may not stay bullish into the close. We pushed the upper end of a range higher in like the last hour near the close, but what I'm seeing here is because there's a low correlator, or a low correlation, I should say. There's possibility that this Ace of Wands ends up being UVAS. UAVS. Hey, Robert. What will be the overall trend direction between now and the end of year for UAVS? out of a decline, there's a strong move from the bottom of a range to the top of a range. So pretty bullish out of a decline. That doesn't mean that we start going bullish right away. Like there could be more decline. Hard to say. There's half a year left, but we should end to the upside at the end of the year for UAVS. AG Aerial Systems Inc. And then for Nikola, what will be the overall trend direction between now and the rest of the year for NKLA between now and the end of the year? There's possibly, okay, this could mean a few things, so let's check out the chart here. MKLS or MKLA? So I have the abundance card, and from the standpoint of what we're asking for NKLA's overall trend direction, we should see a rally through a key resistance level on a multi-day kind of scale. A rally through resistance, we stay above it briefly, possibly creating a new local high, most likely creating a new local high, or maybe a high for the year. It's possible a high, most likely a high for the year, and then we stay above that resistance level briefly. We break back down through it, through that same price level shortly thereafter, creating like a peak or a capital A, with the price level being like the horizontal line through the triangle in the shape of the capital A in the English language. And that's NKLA for the rest of the year. Is it a good idea to do a short for SPY into tomorrow morning, or hold off on that? Hey, Conrad. Oof. Hey. No barking, Hermes. Come on. No barking. Well, so it looks like I'm off on this high too here. So this ends up being, I think this is probably where the highest high ends up being. It's just my feeling looking at how we're a bit off. Sorry guys, I gotta take care of my dog real quick. So is it a good idea to short? It's probably not the best place to short, because first off, we were off on this gap down. I figured we would have a gap down, and we had a significant move to the upside, and then more. I figured we'd have a gap down and then a move to the upside. It's a U-shaped dip tomorrow, but then there's more kind of bullish indication, and then it looks like a gap down overnight on the 12th. Let's look at it from a one-day standpoint. Okay, so that's saying short here. Okay, so if we end up going higher than this price level here, this like top that we have here at 441.70, if we go higher than that, I would say open up a short position. Yeah, there's most likely a drop here. This is a little bit easier to read than yesterday's relative card because we've got this decline through multiple support levels into a low. We've got the low early in the day. There's decline here, an unexpected move higher, which a lot of the time comes out of a decline. So kind of indicates that there's a move higher out of a decline. And then we have this mixed behavior around a key support level in like the first hour and a half where there should be a notable low and a trade opportunity. I'd probably open a long position tomorrow and close that long position when we revisit a crest. So we probably have a high here between 11 and 12 somewhere. We decline off of that sideways rotation, and then in the midst of erratic behavior towards the end of the day, we have the revisiting of a crest that was recently a past opportunity. So a crest that forms after a big move to the, like a notable move to the upside on a one-day chart there between 11 and 12. That would be the crest that we would most likely revisit here between 2 and 3-ish, or 2 and 4-ish, I should say. If we revisit that crest, that's where I would exit the long position that I opened here first thing in the morning. But yeah, I think you could probably open a short position. Let's say we pass through this price level here. We push the upper end of that range higher, then there's likely a pretty big opportunity. Matter of fact, I think I got a good idea what's happening here. So rather than us having a low here at the end of the day, we're going to push the upper end of a range higher. And then overnight, off of that push to the upside, overnight, there's going to be a significant decline through multiple support levels into a day's low tomorrow. Yeah, matter of fact, that does say drop, pretty big drop, but it's going to be like a U shape. Like we're going to drop pretty hard, and then we're going to probably come back to the same price level that we're at roughly here. So there's a pretty decent opportunity in there tomorrow to open up a long position. I would say if you don't get the position opened before this unexpected move out of a decline that takes place here first thing in the morning around the open, if you don't get in before that unexpected move higher, I would say you probably missed the opportunity unless we revisit it, which is a possibility with the Queen of Cups. If we revisit a low here first thing in the morning, like we have a low and then we pop out of it and then we come back, then I would say hop into a long position. Either get it before that big move higher or wait and see if there's another opportunity and then exit when we revisit that long position here, or when we revisit that crest here between roughly 2 and the close, and it'll be the crest price level roughly that we see after a big move higher here between 11 and 12, and then a big drop off of a peak or crest that forms from a big move higher. This year, there's been a decline every new moon. Next is on July 17th. Is next week bearish? So, AV, I'm not sure about that. I mean, usually the troughs or the local lows end up being ahead of the full moon, just a bit ahead of the full moon, and then like the high points of the market are usually a little bit ahead of the new moon, in like overall, like historically speaking. It's interesting. But yeah, I mean, the following week does look. I mean, it's mixed, but it looks like there's probably a gap down or a big decline midweek, and then a big move out of that decline. I think we probably still have a high here around the 26th or the 31st. Can you short the Jets? An inverse ETF for the Jets. Hey, Proof. Is Bitcoin going downtrend till July 16th in monthly prediction? Let's take a look. Oof. And this is why it's so difficult for me to determine highs and lows here, because look at all this really sidewaysy behavior going on here. It's all sidewaysy. Really difficult to determine trend direction when you've got back and forth sideways behavior like that. All right, so this is this, like, matter of fact, that was the AN card there. Decline and then mix. We're likely already in the midst of this mixed behavior of the Queen of Cups based on what we're looking at. There is with this failure card, there's yellow correlation, which is to the success, so it's going to be mixed throughout the day. The question was, will BTC be in a downtrend until July 16th? All right, so we had the peak on the 3rd, peak on the 6th, which we had for the 7th. Trough there on the 10th with the big move pushing the upper end of a range higher, drop. I see mixed. I see mixed, and my sense is that we probably have a bit of a trough here between the 17th and the 18th. But the thing is I feel like I was off as far as these lowest lows, which means that they could be actually tied to the second timeline here rather than the first line of timeline cards. They could be tied here, which would make them highs. And we do have a peak here. So it's a little difficult to discern if it's going to be decline into the 16th. My sense is that it most likely is, but I'm off on these lowest lows, which means that it makes these crests here a little questionable, especially because they're So I think what I would do if you're looking for a short position, I would probably wait until we have this failed attempt to break through key resistance here, which should take place around the 13th. Could be a little earlier, a little later, but it most likely takes place around the 13th. A failed attempt to break through key resistance on a multi-day scale, so very likely like this resistance right here, 3089, 3090, most likely. But that failed attempt would be an opportunity to get in. It'll be a key technical price level on like a 1 year kind of scale, which we're definitely dancing around. So I would say wait until the 13th to open up a short position at that key technical price level, which is right here around 30. You could say it's 31.33, or you could say that we're already at it around the 30.50 mark, but you'd want to get into a short position, and then I think you'd be able to hold that short position until the 17th. But the 17th is tricky. There's a cash out opportunity there, but there's also correlation to a move higher that successfully turns resistance into support. So what you're looking for on the 17th, after a big move down on the 16th or around the 16th, there should be a low that forms near multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. Probably a pop and drop, and then we see that low again there on the 17th. But I'd want to exit before any pop and drop. So this one just started in 2021. 75 cents, yikes. But there's a big gap right there. Wow, that's a really big gap. That's like a $9 gap almost. So you want to know, Robert, do you want to know what it's going to be like between now and December 2023, or you want to know what's happening in December 2023? Interesting. So if that's the case, then I would expect that during the next retrograde we're gonna have it be kind of like the opposite, because that seems to happen. The moon pattern in the market seems to flip in the retrogrades. On the Netflix monthly, looks like you nailed the crest that is currently forming right now. Well done, my man. Thank you. Appreciate it. The next day's reading is a drop through multiple support levels. Yeah, okay, so we dropped and then moved to the upside. Yeah, I mean, this should be pretty, like, today was probably pretty mixed. Let's look at a 1 day based on this sidewaysy change card. Yeah, pretty mixed, but over. See what I mean by sidewaysy? So we started out this price level and roughly end around roughly the same price level, but with some back and forth in between. That's very characteristic of like the change card. But yeah, we should see a decline. We should see a decline to and through support to meet a second support. That's on a multi-day kind of scale, so end of day crest. And it's either a gap down or a big decline tomorrow. And I would say a bullish opportunity in the midst of sideways rotational on key support on a multi-day scale. So if, let's say we hit this price level again, roughly 431.70-ish. Right, there's another one that we would break through on the way to it. So we would break down to and through support, meet a second support, and then rotate sideways. So if we see sideways rotation along this price level, I would say that's an opportunity to get into a long position. If we see sideways rotation here along this price level, but wait for the sideways rotation. If we meet this, don't just hop in. Look for sideways rotation as confirmation of the trade opportunity, because it doesn't necessarily mean we stop here. We could go lower. It's possible. What you're looking for as a bottom, as indication of a bottom, is that sideways rotation, which will stand out on both a 1 day and a 1 month. The support that we sideways rotate along will stand out on both a 1 day and a 1 month chart scale. And so you open up a long position there, and we should see a rally the following day or a gap up the following day. Either a gap up or a rally tomorrow on the on the 13th, through along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance to meet a second resistance, and then we pull back to somewhere between those two price levels. And I would say most likely what you're looking to do is get out when we've broken through a horizontal resistance on a multi-day scale, met a second resistance, and then we start pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. That would be a good exit point for the long position. And it may very well be early in the day. There could just be a gap up there. It's possible between the 12th and the 13th. This week it seems like rotation has started to started to small caps. Is it here for a while? Thanks again. You're welcome. So overall trend for the near future. Do that over. Actually, let's do yes or no here. Small caps in a period of sideways rotation for, let's say, for the rest of July. Yes or no? Looks like we've got back and forth sideways behavior back and forth through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend, and that's also an affirmative. That's a yes. Hey, Caroline. Q3, Q4 for RIVN. I don't think I really have anything as far as that kind of detail, but I could do like a generalized. Yeah, that would be in my shorts. All right, so Q3, Q4 for RIVN. RIVN, it's currently I'm pretty sure my short on RIVN talks about the opportunity. So I would look for the short on RIVN, just search in the channel, and that'll bring up the opportunity. As far as Q3 and Q4 are concerned, Q3 overall trend behavior, it looks like a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher. So Q4, or excuse me, RIVN in Q3 is a fast sudden move higher. Excuse me, sorry guys, I'm doing a short. RIVN in Q3 is a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher. Q4 overall trend direction for RIVN. It looks like a rally that ends with that's halted by a sharp decline through key support. It's the Hangman card. So there's a rally into Q4, fast sudden move higher out of Q3, rallying into Q4, and then that rally ends with the halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support there in Q4. RIVN. Carolyn, do you mean the ticker AI, or are you talking about general, like the broad sector of AI? The outcome of the Musk Zuckerberg feud? I don't know much about it. What will be the outcome? Ooh. Something that was cause for excitement sours and becomes cause for disappointment, or cause for it loses its, like, there's no longer a reason for us to be excited about it. It loses whatever the reason for that excitement, and it ends up being like a sour situation. Without knowing much about the Musk Zuckerberg feud, I can say that it sours. It's something that is first cause for excitement, then sours. No longer is something to be excited about. Instead, it ends up being a rather disappointing sort of situation. Carolyn, is that the ticker AI, or are you talking about the sector of AI? MNMD broke out of a triangle. Let's take a look. And the question is, will it pull back to the breakout level in the near future? Yes or no? I got a yes. But it's a big move. There'll be a big move to the upside off of that. So MNMD, I pulled the adjustment card for the question, will we pull back to breakout level in the near future? And it was the adjustment card, which is a yes, but also indicates a pretty big move to the upside after that pullback. Let me double check myself. Ooh, it's a maybe. Adjustment is a maybe. Depends on situation. Let me see here. Yeah, that likely means we go higher before the pullback. The maybe situation, and we likely go higher before the pullback there. When talking about MNMD, it broke out. We should see a higher price level and then a pullback to breakout levels before a notable move higher with the adjustment card. Okay, the ticker AI. Oof. What the heck? And these charts are wigging out. Will AI be bullish or bearish in the coming days? Will AI, which is C3 AI Inc., will AI be bullish or bearish over the next several days? So Wednesday we've got mixed behavior. Thursday more mixed behavior, back and forth through the same price level. And then there's an important resistance level highlighted on Friday. So a lot of sideways behavior the following week. Big move higher on Monday and Tuesday. We pushed the upper end of a range higher on Tuesday before a decline on Wednesday, a decline on Thursday, decline on Friday of the coming week. That's AI. Yeah, I'm planning to do a defense one, Robert. based on your suggestion there. Let's take a look at SPY before market closes. So there's that big move. Okay, guys, so this would be definitively opportunity here to get into a short position and close that short position tomorrow first thing in the morning before a big move to the upside. If you miss that if you miss getting out of the short position before that big move, the unexpected move higher out of a decline there first thing in the morning, then there's likely another opportunity. We're going to do some mixed back and forth around the low. So I would say if you miss getting into a long position before that big move higher, wait until after. But I would get out probably first thing in the morning as long as it's before that big move. But yeah, definitive opportunity to get in a short position. I wouldn't wait because we're going to turn around here. So July 12th, first thing in the morning, exit short positions that have been opened up here at the end of the day on the 11th. And that's where I would open up a long position first thing in the morning in the midst of a sharp decline to a low before we see an unexpected move higher out of that decline. If you see that unexpected move higher out of the decline and you haven't opened up the long position, do not open up the long position unless we revisit that low, which is a possibility there in the first half hour. If we revisit the low, then hop into that long. And what you're looking to do is exit that long towards the end of the day and like the last 2 hours of trading in the midst of erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. We're going to revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity. And that crest that we revisit, we probably see that crest around the 11 to 12 o'clock hour forming after a notable move higher that'll stand out on a one-day chart. Crest at a peak, or I should say a peak and then a decline, and then we revisit that price level most likely there between 2 and 4 p.m. And that's where I would exit the long position. MPC, bullish or bearish over the coming days. It's currently July 11th. So the 12th looks like a overbought peak or crest that we sell off through multiple support levels. The 13th, we bump along resistance sideways. The 14th, we revisit a support level. There's a decline to a support level that we recently met, a significant support level on a multi-day scale. And then RBLX for the coming days, it's currently July 11th. RBLX for the 12th. A period of volatility and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility. The 13th, we have a notable opportunity. And then there's a big move to the upside, pushing the upper end of a range higher on a multi-day scale. On the 14th, a peak or crest that we sell off pretty notably on a multi-day scale. Appreciate it, Conrad. We'll CPI. How will CPI data release in relation to expectations? It's not looking good, actually. It looks like we're expecting to do well, but it's not as good as we expect. Was the indolence card for CPI? That doesn't mean the market doesn't act that doesn't mean that the market acts a specific way. There's really no correlation. There's so much unforeseen data that happens throughout a day in the world that will impact like chart behavior. You can't base it on what the CPI data is. Even if you knew what the CPI data is, like you wouldn't want to base what you expect the price action to be off of that CPI data. For the most part, anything's possible. So we might actually hit this upper or come close to this upper end of the RSI again. A lot of the time that'll happen when you have a move like this. We might see a little higher. If we go higher, I would probably cost average down on the short and then close it the following day again. I wouldn't want to wait on that wait to close that long position past the early morning, like first half hour to hour. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'm gonna roll out, take my dog to the park. Thanks as always for watching, and as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma, my friends. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. 5% of the profits from the information on this channel should be donated forward to one of these charities. 5% of the profits should be donated back to the channel. Thank you very much, my angel investors, and make sure to spend that 90% left over out of love. As long as you do that, the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel, my friends.